Hello students, and welcome to the lecture on Quality Systems Organization and Implementation. After the lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand implementation framework. Discuss International Organization for Standardization, or ISO. Understand the ISO 9000 standards. Explain the implementation of ISO 9000 Quality Management System. Discuss the steps in ISO 9000 registration. Let's start with a brief introduction to quality systems organizing and implementations. Quality system organization is a process for ensuring that all the activities necessary to design, develop, and deliver a product or service are conducted effectively and efficiently. It typically involves one or more of the following elements: quality planning, quality control, quality assurance, and quality improvement. Let's discuss the implementation framework. The implementation of a quality system is not the same for all organizations. Therefore, the contingency theory of Galbraith can be applied for quality system implementation as well. In line with this theory, one can define two basic principles for quality system implementation. There is no single best way for implementing a quality system within different organizations. There is no single right quality system which can be applied in all organizations. Organizational assessment. The organization-specific contingency factors will be analyzed on the basis of the 7S model of McKinsey. In their search for excellence, they found that not only the hard things mattered, such as structure and strategy and systems, but also the soft people-related things, such as staff, style, skills, and shared values. Standards are documented agreements containing technical specifications or other precise criteria to be used consistently as rules, guidelines, or definitions of characteristics to ensure that materials, products, processes, and services are fit for their purpose.
In this video, we will talk about what is ISO, or International Organization for Standardization. The International Organization for Standardization is known as ISO. It is an international standard-setting body. It is composed of representatives from various national standards organizations. The organization promotes worldwide proprietary, industrial, and commercial standards. It is founded on 23 February 1947. It is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It was one of the first organizations granted general consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. This allows it to participate in the work of the United Nations. The three official languages of the ISO are English, French, and Russian. The organization's name would have different acronyms in different languages. IOS is English and OIN in French. It adopted the short name, ISO, based on the Greek word meaning equal. The name ISO and the logo are both registered trademarks, and their use is restricted. The organization today, known as ISO, began in 1926, as the International Federation of the National Standardizing Associations. It was suspended in 1942, during World War II. In October 1946, the new International Organization for Standardization was created. The new organization officially began operations in February 1947. ISO is a voluntary organization whose members are recognized authorities on standards. Each member represents one country. ISO has 164 national members, out of the 206 total countries in the world. Members meet annually, at a General Assembly, to discuss ISO's strategic objectives. The organization is coordinated by a central secretariat, based in Geneva. A council, with a rotating membership of 20 member bodies, provides guidance and governance, including setting the central secretariat's annual budget. The Technical Management Board is responsible for over 250 technical committees, who develop the ISO standards. ISO's main products are international standards. ISO also publishes technical reports, technical specifications, publicly available specifications, technical core agenda, and guides. Sale of standards are one of the funding sources for the organization.
History of ISO. The ISO is a non-governmental organization established in 1947. The mission of ISO is to promote the development of standardization and related activities in the world with a view to facilitating the international exchange of goods and services, and to developing cooperation in the spheres of intellectual, scientific, technological, and economic activity. What is in a standard? What does an ISO standard look like? It can be anything from a 4-page document to a 1,000-page tome, including twice the weight of the standard itself in informative annexes. It may specify the tasks that a certain range of equipment must be able to perform, or describe in detail an apparatus and its safety features. How are ISO standards developed? The ISO standards are developed according to the following principles. Consensus. The views of all interests are taken into account as manufacturers, vendors, and users, consumer groups, testing laboratories, governments, engineering professions, and research organizations. Industry-wide. Global solutions to satisfy industries and customers worldwide. Voluntary. International standardization is market-driven and therefore based on voluntary involvement of all interests in the marketplace. Let's now talk about the ISO 9000 standards. ISO 9000 is a series of international standards developed by quality experts from around the world for use by companies. Benefits of ISO 9000. The primary value of ISO 9000 registration is consistent delivery of a product or service to a defined standard and improved bottom line performance. Other benefits of ISO certification. Some prospective buyers may require their suppliers to be ISO registered. 90 countries around the world have adopted ISO standards. Companies wishing to do business in Europe may have no choice but to adopt it, as it is an accepted part of doing business. Perceived higher quality product or service. Objective third-party verification of quality assurance. What is the process? Registration is the formal assessment of a company's quality management system by an independent third party known as a quality registrar. To go through the ISO generally requires 4 main tasks. Make a formal application to ISO certification or registration body. The review. The body may then hold an assessment check, or if no problems exist, they will go straight to the audit. And finally, the audit. Requirements of ISO 9000 standards. The ISO 9000 standards require a standard language for documenting quality procedures. Documented procedures covering all the parts of the organization within the scope of registration for ensuring that quality objectives are met. A system to track and manage evidence that these practices are instituted throughout the organization. And a third-party auditing model to assess, certify, and maintain certification of organizations. The ISO 9000 series. The ISO 9000 series classifies products into generic categories: hardware, software, processed materials, and services. The standards are applicable to all industry sectors. Roles of the ISO 9000 series. The purpose of the ISO 9000 series is to increase the confidence of customers in the quality systems of their suppliers. This is particularly important when there are great distances between parties, different languages, and different terms. ISO 9000 principles. The principles are as follows. Customer focus. As stated, the customer is the primary focus of a business. By understanding and responding to the needs of customers, an organization can correctly target key demographics and therefore increase revenue by delivering the products and services that the customer is looking for. Good leadership. A team of good leaders will establish unity and direction quickly in a business environment. Their goal is to motivate everyone working on the project, and successful leaders will minimize miscommunications within and between departments. Involvement of people. The inclusion of everyone on a business team is critical to its success. Involvement of substance will lead to a personal investment in a project and in turn create motivated, committed workers. Process approach to quality management. The best results are achieved when activities and resources are managed together. This process approach to quality can lower costs through the effective use of resources, personnel, and time. Management system approach. Combining management groups may seem like a dangerous clash of the titans, but if done correctly, can result in an efficient and effective management system. If leaders are dedicated to the goals of an organization, they will aid each other and achieve improved productivity. Continual improvement. The importance of this principle is paramount. Through increased performance, a company can increase profits and gain an advantage over competitors. Factual approach to decision-making. Effective decisions are based on the analysis and interpretation of information and data. By making informed decisions, an organization will be more likely to make the right decision. Supplier relationships. It is important to establish a mutually beneficial supplier relationship. Such a relationship creates value for both parties. A supplier that recognizes a mutually beneficial relationship will be quick to react when a business needs to respond to customer needs.
An ISO certified company is a company that's been audited by an external organization and verified that they have a quality system in place, and that quality system follows a set of standard guidelines, making sure that customers are valued, suppliers are evaluated, and all those things come together to ultimately reach customer satisfaction. For a customer, ISO 9001 certification means that you can be assured that there are procedures and policies in place guaranteeing that your product is properly checked, that the suppliers whose parts are used to build your products or to service your products are also been reviewed and followed along. The difference between a accredited lab and a ISO 9001 registered lab is that the accredited lab is tested for proficiency, meaning that the technicians are verified to see that they actually can make the measurements and make them accurately. Those results are compared through interlaboratory comparisons and through third-party proficiency testing providers to ensure the results are accurate, which is certainly the most important aspect to a customer. If a customer to order an ESD gun were to order an ESD gun from us, that ESD gun is brought into our calibration laboratory and it's checked for waveform compliance and current injection compliance according to the IEC 61004-2 standard. which involves measuring with a high bandwidth ESD target the proper wave shape in the 700 picosecond rise time, so on and so forth. All important characteristics of verifying that that ESD event is simulated properly.
The process of implementing ISO 9000 depends on the sophistication of one's existing quality program, the size of one's organization, and the complexity of one's process. The 14 essential steps to be followed through in order to implement ISO 9000 quality management systems successfully are: Step 1. Top management commitment. Without top management commitment, no quality initiative can succeed. Top management must be convinced that registration and certification will enable the organization to demonstrate to its customers a visible commitment to quality. Step 2. Establish an implementation team. The ISO 9000 is implemented by people. The first phase of implementation calls for the commitment of top management, the CEO, and perhaps a handful of other key people. Step 3. Start ISO 9000 awareness programs. The ISO 9000 awareness programs should be conducted to communicate to the employees the aim of the ISO 9000 quality management system, the advantage it offers to employees, customers, and the organization, how it will work, and their roles and responsibilities within the system. Step 4. Provide training. Since the ISO 9000 quality management system affects all the areas and all the personnel in the organization, training programs should be structured for different categories of employees: senior managers, middle-level managers, supervisors, and workers. Step 5. Conduct initial status survey. The ISO 9000 does not require duplication of effort or redundant systems. The goal of ISO 9000 is to create a quality management system that conforms to the standard. This does not preclude incorporating, adapting, and adding on to quality programs already in place. Step 6. Create a documented implementation plan. Once the organization has obtained a clear picture of how its quality management system compares with the ISO 9001-2000 standard, all non-conformities must be addressed with a documented implementation plan. Step 7. Management system documentation. Documentation of the quality management system should include documented statements of a quality policy and quality objectives, a quality manual, documented procedures and records required by the standard ISO 9001-2000, and documents needed by the organization to ensure the effective planning, operation, and control of its processes. Step 8. Document control. Once the necessary quality management system documentation has been generated, a documented system must be created to control it. Step 9. Implementation. It is good practice to implement the quality management system being documented as the documentation is developed, although this may be more effective in larger firms. Step 10. Internal quality audit. As the system is being installed, its effectiveness should be checked by regular internal quality audits. Internal quality audits are conducted to verify that the installed quality management system conforms to the planned arrangements, to the requirements of the standard, and to the quality management system requirements established by an organization, and is effectively implemented and maintained. Step 11. Management review. When the installed quality management system has been operating for 3 to 6 months, an internal audit and management review should be conducted and corrective actions implemented. Step 12. Pre-assessment audit. When system deficiencies are no longer visible, it is normally time to apply for certification. However, before doing so, a pre-assessment audit should be arranged with an independent and qualified auditor. Sometimes certification bodies provide this service for a nominal charge. Step 13. Certification and registration. Once the quality management system has been in operation for a few months and has stabilized, a formal application for certification could be made to a selected certification agency. Step 14. Continual Improvement. Certification to ISO 9000 should not be an end. One should continually seek to improve the effectiveness and suitability of the quality management system through the use of quality policy, quality objectives, audit results, analysis of data, corrective and preventative actions, management review. Did you know ISO 9000 ANSI Q90 is a guideline for the selection and use of actual standards ISO 9001, 9002, and 9003? Let's now explore the steps in ISO 9000 registration. The registration process is fairly straightforward, consisting of 6 simple steps. Normally, the registrar is selected while the system is still being developed and implemented. The registrar will communicate any specific requirements that they may have or that the accreditation body may have imposed. Step 1. ISO 9001 application or contract. The registrars access rights to facilities and information. Confidentiality issues. Rights to appeal or file a complaint. Instruction on the use of registration certificates. Conditions for terminating the application. Step 2. ISO 9001 QMS document review. The ISO registrar will require a copy of one's quality manual, implementing quality procedures and reports and forms for a document review. The document review is a desk audit of one's systems to verify that all the requirements of ISO standards are addressed. Step 3. Reassessment audit. Most registrars require a reassessment audit. Others offer it as an option. The reassessment is an initial review of one's quality management system to identify any significant omissions or weaknesses in the system, and provides one's organization the opportunity to correct any deficiencies before the regular registration assessment is conducted. Step 4. Assessment or audit to ISO 9001-2008. In conducting the audit, the auditors follow ISO 10011. The ISO lead auditor will perform an audit schedule or plan in advance of the audit. This will allow personnel to schedule their time appropriately to ensure that they are available at the appropriate times. Step 5. ISO registration. After the audit and report are completed and all nonconformities are addressed as appropriate, the company will receive a registration certificate that identifies the quality system as being in compliance with ISO 9001-2008. Step 6. Surveillance audits. After the registration, the process doesn't end. Certification is not a one-time activity. Achieving certification means that one has developed, implemented, and is maintaining a quality management system that minimally meets the requirements of ISO 9001. Publicizing ISO certification. The International Organization for Standardization website has detailed explanations on publicizing ISO 9001 or ISO 14001 certifications. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. The organizational assessment phase consists of an organizational diagnosis to examine the situational factors and to determine contingency factors for quality system implementation. The 7 S's have been supplemented with 2 change-related factors, examples of problem ownership and change experience. Furthermore, quality, maturity, and time pressure have been added. International standards contribute to making life simpler and to increasing the reliability and effectiveness of the goods and services one uses. ISO 9000 is a series of standards which a company can use as a guideline for setting up a quality management system. The ISO 9000 quality management system can enable the company to increase profitability and customer satisfaction through reduced waste and rework, shortened cycle times, improved problem tracking and resolution, and better supplier relations.